All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Yelena. I'm Cognos Analytics Administrator, as well as one of the faculties at the University of Maryland Global Campus. The purpose of tonight's session is to help you get started with your Cognos Analytics, and this is what you're going to use starting from this assignment and going forward in this course. So what we're gonna do tonight, I'm gonna show you how to get started, how to access your account. We're gonna talk about the data preparation, data explorations, data visualizations, and more. Now, what I need to tell you is this. Tonight, we're gonna be covering a lot of information, but trust me, you will need to watch the recording of this presentation more than once. Even if you are attending today's session, you will need to watch the recording or portions of the recordings more than once, because I'm covering a lot of information here, and we're going to have another session in 4 weeks from now, okay? Now, so most of you have heard this terminology, Cognos Analytics. So what is this? Let's think about it. This is a self-service, and it's very intuitive. So the whole idea is that I can import my data, and the software is going to extract the insights for me. I'm not writing any Java code. I'm not writing any R, any Python. I'm going to leave this stuff for later in the program, right? What you do is you just drag and drop the data fields on a canvas, and it's going to give you nice visualizations, right? It's going to be the software allows you to build the interactive dashboards and present the interactive stories. It also supports reporting, but we are not covering reporting in this class, but I just list here. Okay, now, so this is very important. I know that most of us used to using browser back button. Don't do that, because you might end up losing your work. Okay, so clicking on a browser back and forward buttons, you might end up losing your work. Deletions cannot be undone because there is no recycle bin. Once you delete the file, that's it, it's gone permanently. And if you delete the data, everywhere, all visualizations that use the data will be invalid, all right? So now you cannot copy paste the text from your PC directly. I'll show you what you need to do. You need to use the clipboard tool, I'll show you. Always save your work, right? And you want to start working on assignments early because things come up, right? So now, I created the accounts for all of you. I'll show you how to access. And after this session, please make sure that you're able to access your account. If not, you want to submit the Salesforce case, but let me show you. So here is what it is. You're gonna paste this in a browser, right? vdi.umgc.edu. But you might be aware that this is a single sign-on, right? So if you're not logged on to your email, and if you're not logged into your classroom in the same browser tab, at this point you might be asked for your student login, your email, right? How you access Leo? You put your email and your password, right? So this is exactly the same way you would get to this page, but this is a single sign-on since I'm logged into my email, right? Since I'm logged into my university email, in another tab, I can open this, right? Next step is going to be Cognos itself. So here, this is a shortcut. You're going to see the shortcut, right? Or you can also access it from data programs, right? You click here. This will open the login page. But now I'll show you what everybody's credential is, how to remember it easily. So here, in here, your username is going to be your university username. Or if you look at your email, university email, the first part that goes right before it, right? The first part, this is your student ID. You know, it goes something at student.umgc.edu, right before the ed, right? And this is your username in Leo also. And this is a password. Everybody's password is, well, the easiest way to remember is welcome, capital letter W, but because the password must contain at least one number, what I did was I replaced the letter E with the number 3, because On the keyboard, number 3 is above letter E. And then the exclamation point, because you have to have a special character, okay? So that's why. So that's gonna be welcome. But for the purpose of this presentation, of course, I'm not using my administrative account, right? What I'll use is I have a separate account for the demo, okay? So this is what I'm gonna do now to log in. Okay, I'm logged in now, sign in, okay? Well, so this is called the landing page, or you can also call it the home page, right? And I'm gonna go over I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it better. All right, so here, what do we see here? This middle section here, it's called Canvas, and based on which page you are, right, you're gonna see different content in here, and I'll show you. Now in here, over here, my content, this area, my content, that's where you're gonna see the files that you created. This is your work, right? My content area where your files are. Team content area where the files are shared with you. In this course, for example, this one, calendar, get started, and samples and templates, these folders were pre-installed at the time when the Cognos was set up. But for you, I also, as an administrator, I added this folder here, data for assignments. So you have in the team content, you have this folder called data for assignments. This is where you're gonna find your data for assignments. So what I did was I broke down for you. So your first assignment is getting started with Cognos, which is due next Tuesday, right? Then this is assignment 2, assignment 3 and 4. Well, 4 is a continuation of 3. So you're gonna use the same data set for 4 that you choose for 3. Assignment 5, well, we're gonna talk about it in the next session, all right? And here is the data that I'm gonna use today for the presentation. So in case when you watch the recording, if you want to follow along, it's gonna be there for you, okay? The data is gonna be there. So this is the team content, right? And eventually for assignment 5, you're gonna have the group work. We're gonna talk about that too, but not today. Recent is gonna list anything that you accessed recently, but so let's suppose that I'm just starting. Suppose that I have not, right? So I have it clear in here. And my content, I have just one file for right now. But in general, if you have more than one file, then you can actually search, right? Or what this will do is, if I type something like, for example, insurance, right? It's gonna give me the list of files that contain the word insurance, and it's rather files that I have access to. As you see, most of those, they are in the team content, right? So I can search for the files here. Because with time, as you're working, you're gonna have more stuff, right? And you can also filter your search results by what are you looking for? Are you looking for the data, or are you looking for the dashboards? Right? Or if suppose you made change to something and you don't remember what you saved, so you can do today, right? I did not do anything, I did not save anything today. Well, something like that, right? Okay. And I created a set of videos, and the link is in the classroom, I believe. So there is a video where I explain more details how to use this search. Okay. Now, so recent is what I asked recently, right? Now, what I will do is that I'll show you what you'll need to do for your first assignment. This is where the data is. I'm going to repeat. So look, you're going to go to the team content. This is the data for assignments. You're going to click here, right? This is the insurance file for the assignment, that your first assignment. Well, the purpose is you have to show that you know how to access your account and you know what to do a little bit with the data. So here, this file, this insurance CSV file, I uploaded it, right? And what you'll need to do is you'll need to make a copy of this file to your content. To do that, you're gonna click here. This is called action menu. you're gonna go to copy or move, and you're gonna select your personal area, right? This is my content, and I'm gonna do copy to. But what if I made move to? I'm gonna get an error now. Why? Because you have read-only access to the team content. So you cannot make any changes to this, right? So you have to do this copy and move, right? And you're gonna do the copy. Copy creates a copy of the data. It's your local copy. So any changes that are gonna happen in here by administrator, not gonna be affecting you because you created your own copy, right? So your access to this stuff is read-only, and there are some samples in here that you can look at too, right? Those were pre-installed. This folder I set up for you, okay? Now, so here it is, this is my content, right? So this is a file that I just copied, and this was the claims and weather file, right? Excel file. So you can work from files directly, just go ahead and build your visualization straight from file, right? But, okay, what is this? Oh, what is the password? Well, it's not, the password is, everybody's password is here, welcome. Everybody's passport is welcome. This is not an IBM. This is our, well, this is our university. We host this, but yeah, IBM Cognos Analytics. This is a password for everybody. Okay? Yes, thank you. So letters, number 3 is right above letter E on the keyboard. So that's how I came up with this, okay? Because the password must have a number, and that was the easier way. Well, at least for me. Okay, so after this, make sure, and also please make sure this, when you click on the team content, make sure that you can see this, because if not, submit the Salesforce case, because, well, several things going on here. One thing is that you can log in, but all of this, it's controlled by the group. So if you don't see this, then I need to add you to the data 610 group, okay? That's very easy fix, but make sure that you see those folders in the team content, okay? If not, it's a very easy fix, no brainer for me. Okay, now let's go back in here. So that's a login. Now I'll talk a little bit about this interface here. When you need to copy something, see this little thing that slides out at the top, right? So in here, this is a clipboard. So in order to copy something, text from your PC, you would have to copy the text in this clipboard first, and then copy it from clipboard to where you need to paste it to, okay? So, well, you're not gonna be uploading files back and forth, but you can also put like a full screen and etc. Okay, so that's that part. Yeah, so this is that. But next one, well, I just briefly, I just went over the landing page, right? But as you start working on a file, on files, right, you're gonna see a tile for each new file that you recently had opened. For each file that you recently had opened, you're gonna see a tile here. Okay. Now we went over this page, right? So now I showed you how to access the preloaded data, and there is also a screenshot in the classroom, I think, right, of that. Now, what we're gonna look at today, this is the data, this is how it looks like. This is a customer insurance data. You have customer information, right? And the insurance coverage information, policy type. Then you also see the type of the accident, and the goal is to estimate the total claim amount. So see, you have like information about the customer, such as income, marital status, etc. But take a look at it. Some data is missing, right? You see those empty cells, right? Those are also called null. They called null, or they also called missing values, right? So see this, we will have to work on handling those. We're gonna talk how to handle those today, okay? Now I mentioned that for your very first assignment, you're gonna be working straight with a data set, which is a CSV file in Excel, and you're gonna use it as a data source to create the data exploration, right? It just straight as a data source. Well, however, you cannot customize the data set, right? You cannot add calculations to it. You cannot, well, you can use it as a source, but you cannot make any modifications that would be applicable everywhere else where you use it as a source, let's say. And you cannot see what's in the data. You cannot open the data set directly, right? But what is a data module? You may customize it, right? So you convert, basically what we will do is we will create the data module from the data set. It can be used as a source of another data module, or you can combine multiple data sources. We're not going to do it here, but in general, you know that you can. You can add calculations, and all the calculations that you add to the data module, they will be available on everywhere else where you use the data module as a data source. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to create a data module. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go to my content, right? Because I can only work with stuff that I have in my content. All right. So here, I'm going to click here, and this is called the action menu. And I'm going to do now what? Create data module, right? And you will be able to preview the data, and I'll show you how. So here, this is, if you click here, this is the data, right? So see here, right now I have not saved it yet. So it says new data module, and this little asterisk, it means that the latest changes have not been saved. This is what it means, okay? The latest changes have not been saved. In here, this is the Excel file that is used as a source for my data module. And what I see is, I see the list of column names in my data, right? And each little icon depends, it's based on the column type, right? It shows a column type, right? Like for example, this is response, which is a letter, right? State, right? State is a location. And customer name, right? And then take a look at this. There is something called row ID. This column, it's grayed out because it's a hidden column. In other words, the column is there, but it's not visible. It's hidden from user's view, if you will, right? And you can, if users really have to see it, you can unhide. But to hide or unhide the column, see, this is a customer, right? I can click here. This opens the menu, right? And in here, see this, hide from users. I can select hide from users, right? If I want to hide this column, or I can show to users to unhide, okay? Hidden columns, sometimes you use them as part of some calculations, right? But you don't want certain people to see them, so that's why you hide. Like Social Security, for instance, right? Okay, so, but hiding is different from deletion, because if the column is used as part of calculations, if you deleted it, the calculation will be invalid, okay? Hiding calculation will still be valid, okay? Now, here also, this is those as a column names, right? This is your data. Well, pay attention in here. Do you see this null? Null means no value, missing value, right? It was an empty cell. When we looked at a minute ago, when we looked at the screenshot of the data, it had some empty cells, okay? And we're gonna learn how to handle that. Here, these two guys, undo and redo the latest change. Yes, I know I told you the deletions cannot be recovered, but you can recover here few latest changes. Not sure exactly how many, but the latest changes here, do undo, okay? Undo, redo in here. Now, what you always need to do is you need to save your work. So how do we save the work? This is floppy disk. I'm gonna click save, and I'm gonna say something that I want to say, it's like claims and weather. Claims and weather data module, right? I saved that, but here I need to save it in my content. I'm not saving anything in the team content, right? I'm gonna go save. Okay, so here it is, the data. So I saved my data module. No star in here, no asterisk. It means that my latest change has been saved, right? That's what it means. Okay, now, next thing is, I explained here the differences. Here, I showed you how to create one, right? And this is where how you save it. I showed you that. I showed you the data module interface, right? We talked about that. Now, yeah. So next thing we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna show you some column properties. Well, if you see, like for example, this is a customer column. You can do here, click here and look at the properties. Here, column label is actually what you see, right? For example, state is a label, claim amount is a label. That's how the column shows in the visualizations. Expression, this shows from which column in a spreadsheet are we reading, or you could also have some modifications, and we'll talk about that. So usage, well, here it says identifier, it has to do with the number of distinct values. All right, but name is not actually a unique identifier, so don't get confused with that. Aggregation, this is how the data is being summarized. Okay, so if I was going to look at the customers per state, perhaps, by default, it's gonna give me the count, the distinct count, number of unique people covered in the state, perhaps, right? Data type, this is a text, right? Then you can also look at the some advanced in here. These are the advanced properties, right? Then also you can have these comments, right? Comments is also the internal. They are just for the data module nodes. And screen tip, basically, when you put your mouse over the column in visualizations, what should it show? And then you can define sorting if you need to. Okay. Well, source, this is the data file where it came from. Supports null values. If this checkbox, usually this checkbox is checked if there is at least one missing value in a column. Like see? Okay, so here, look, I access the properties here, right? I can also access my properties here, right? I highlighted the column and I can do this too, right? So there are multiple ways to access. And take a look at this coverage. It supports missing values, so there must be missing values in there. Okay. Now, okay, I showed you that. So let's see. Sometimes we go in with slide, sometimes without. You'll see that. Now, next thing is data preparation. Well, what is data preparation? As I mentioned earlier, you can show and hide certain column, it's part of it. You can edit the column properties. For example, I can change column label, right? We can handle missing values. And how would you handle missing values? Sometimes you may filter rows that have missing values, or sometimes you can do the imputation. For example, if the income is unavailable, I can set it to the column average. Or if the or if the claim type is unknown, right? If it's missing, if the value for claim type is unspecified, I can set it to other, right? Well, in other words, I can if it's a categorical column, I can treat missing values as a separate category. Or sometimes if too many rows are missing a value, then I could say, okay, well, let's hide the column altogether. Then in general, you're gonna want to handle totally large values, right? And totally small. Well, outliers, like for example, if everybody got A and B on assignment, and one person got 50%, and that person's grade is an outlier. So extremely large, extremely small. You can add the calculations and the data groups and navigation paths. So don't feel scared, but it's a lot, yes. I showed you how to hide the column. Next thing is gonna add in the filters. So there are two types of filters here. The first type is an embedded filter. That's a filter that we apply, and it's gonna be applied immediately. Right away, the rows will be filtered, right? And it's done in the data module, of course, and it will be filtered immediately. Selectable filter, you define them in data module, but you may use them as needed. So the filter will not be applied immediately, but you choose when you want to apply it, if you will, okay? Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, let's say I want to exclude the rows if the effective due date is missing. If you look at it, we have some data where effective due date is missing, and as well the same row is missing multiple values. Okay, so here what's important is that where you click. Okay, so here we're going to define the filter at the table level. So you may want to go here and click here. And which one do you want to do? You want to do this one, right? Manage filters. And in here, you can do this. Instead of selecting a column, instead of selecting specific column, you want to use the expression editor. Okay? Expression editor, and now I'm going to click add filter. Now, what we need to do, we need to define our filter. What you see in here, well, this is called the expression editor. You're going to use a similar expression editor for the calculated columns and as well as for the filter. So that's expression. What you see here, those are the list of the columns, right? And like, for example, in our case, it's effective due date, right? I can drag and drop, and here it is, right? But I want to keep the rows only if effective due date is not missing, right? So here, those are the operators, right? In our case, the operator is not missing, right? So what I want to do is I want to keep my record if effective due date is not missing. And I'm going to give it a descriptive name, right? Effective due date. Okay, so this is a descriptive name. Effective due date is not missing. And I'm gonna save it, but first, before we save it, you want to make sure that this is valid. So this X is a valid date, and this is a green check mark. It means that my expression is valid, okay? Now what I'll do to save it, I have to scroll down and click on OK. Now let's take a look at it. See, it's refreshing, and immediately it's gonna see this, the rows where I had my effective due date missing, they're gone. Okay, those rows are gone. It's because this filter applies right away. On the other hand, we have a second filter type, which is the selectable filter, right? So selectable filter does not apply right away. You apply it as you need it. So here, let's say I want this. I want to do the personal policy type for the small vehicle, okay? But notice this. This is a Microsoft Word quote, but I'll show you what happens. So first of all, let's do this. Please, I'm gonna copy and paste this, right? So I copied this. But let's define the filter. So I'm gonna go in here, right? I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna go filter. So this one, if you use this filter here, it means that the filter will be selectable. Okay, so now what I'll do here is this. This is an expression. Now I have an expression here, right? And I want to copy and paste. So I have to do this, Control C. I cannot paste it directly here. I have to go through my, oops. I have to use the text thing. Oops. Sorry, because, okay, here it is. this is a clipboard. I have to do Control V, right? I pasted it here. So now it's in the clipboard. And then I go here and paste it again, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you there's gonna be an error right now because of this bad code, but see this before, when you do this, what you need to do is you need to validate. Do you see this? Expression not valid. Well, I just know that the problem is this code in here, okay? So this saying is that in order to keep the record, the personal policy type contains personal and vehicle size contains small, okay? And I need to save this. Let's do descriptive name, personal policy for small vehicle. Well, you have to do descriptive name and I'll show you why. All right, so I saved that. Now I'm gonna click on OK. I saved it, right? Another thing that we're gonna do is this, you notice, well, there is a column called income that still has some of the missing values, right? Income column, trust me, it still has some of the missing values. We did not remove all of them, all right? So what we're gonna do right now is this. We're gonna set all missing values to the column average. So how do we do that? Well, we need to look at the properties, right? And to access the properties, I can click here, or I can find it in the left panel. I can find my column there. Properties. So what we need to do is we need to edit the expression, right? So at the moment, it's taking income straight from the spreadsheet. But I'm gonna change this. So take a look. What I'll do here, I'm gonna go to the operators, and it is not quite the operator, but it's called the construct. And this is gonna be the if-then construct, right? So if else, what I want to do here is that if income is missing, then I want to take the average. Otherwise, I want to keep this income as is. So this is going to be my else expression. I'm taking an income as is. In here, I want to say what? I want to say income is missing, right? And notice that when I type it, sometimes it's going to give me a list of choices, right? If income is missing, then what do I need to do? See, this is called the summaries. Summary, and I want to take the average. And what am I taking the average of? Income, right? I'm taking an average of an income. Otherwise, it's income. Well, let's first validate it, but oops. See, the expression is not valid. Do you know why? It's because it's very difficult to read, right? It's very difficult to read this way. So let's do this. Let's choose this prettify, right? There is a prettify here. This is gonna indent your code, right? So that way you can see what's going on. If income is missing, oh, do you see this? It has to, it's case sensitive. So let's see that. That should do it now. Validate. Oops, expression not valid. Okay, if it's not valid, then I'm gonna go ahead and copy it. Oh, the uppercase, right? Well, if I'm not sure, I can go here and I can just check here. Okay, this is uppercase. Okay, you got it. Oops. So you need to make sure this is case sensitive. Okay. Okay, so then we're taking the average income. Otherwise, it's gonna be just income. That should work now. Validate worked. Okay, good. See, this is expression is valid. And now we have to do this, click on OK, or it won't be saved. Now everywhere where the income was missing, it will be replaced with the average. See, this is the average. I could choose to round it, but well, I did not. But that's what it is, right? We did that. Now we need to do, so we did that, right? We did this, and then this is for the missing values. Fill in missing values with an average. I created a video on how to fill in missing categorical values with predefined value. So there is a playlist, and there is a video, detailed video on categorical columns too. Okay. Now, we are ready to create a new exploration. Okay, so what I do first, I save this. Now I'm gonna close this. So to close it, I go here, close. Next, we're gonna create the data exploration. Data exploration is a way to get insights from our data. So what I'm doing, there are multiple ways to do it. Notice that this is recent, it's because it put what I just had open. I can just go here and I can do create exploration, right? I can do it this way. Now it's gonna use the data module as a source to create the data exploration, but let's discuss what we see. Over here on the left, I see the columns, right? The column names that are in my data, with exception of hidden column. Remember, we had a hidden column, I don't see it here. But what is this? Aha, this is a selectable filter, personal policy for small vehicle. But if I did not put the descriptive name, there is no way to see what I'm doing here, right? How am I gonna know if I put something like filter 1, filter 2? There is no way to know what that means without going back to data module. You see this panel here, this is a selectable filter that I can use as I need, okay? And also here you will see all of the calculations if you have any, okay? Now, you can also define the calculation here, but if you define the calculation at this level, they will be available only in this data exploration. They won't be available elsewhere where you use the data as this data file as a source. What do I see in here? Well, Cognos is very smart. What it did was it tried to identify the relationships in data, and it tries to kind of like predict which column could be a good choice for predictions. Like you're gonna be doing the decision tree models perhaps, right? Which column is a target column? Target is a column that I want to predict. That's also called dependent variable, right? So in this case, it guessed that I want to predict the total claim amount. Well, sometimes I might be interested in monthly premium, right? And I select this and it's gonna redraw the diagram. And what the diagram is, I'll show you. Let's go back. What it's doing is that target, right? It's in the blue circle. Then it shows the relationships between the target and other columns. Like for example, there is an arc between total claim amount and monthly premium. If I hover over the arc, it's gonna give me the relationship strength, right? So the thicker is a line, the stronger is the relationship between two columns, right? So here, that's a vehicle class, and total claim amount is at 27%, and etc. Right? So see here, ARC is a direct relationship. What I could do is this. Look at this. I click on this, and here, Cognos thinks that I might want to do these visualizations, right? But there is a problem. What is the problem? Take a look at what it's doing to the total claim amount. You see that? What it's doing is doing the sum. But I probably don't want to be looking at the sum. I want to be looking at what? Average, right? As I aggregate, as I summarize the total claim amount, I don't care what the sum of all claims is, right? So what we do is we need to change the properties, okay? And what is this? This is a aggregation property, and we want to do what the average, right? Average. Close. Now, is my work saved? No. What happens if this file gets closed somehow? That's it. I'm gonna lose my work, right? So what you need to do is this. You click on a floppy disk, then you go here in your content, and I'm gonna say something like claims and weather exploration. And weather exploration. This part especially, you will need to watch more than once because I'm gonna show you a lot of stuff here. Some of it will get lost, but no worries. You'll have the recording. Now, see here, this is smart. If I click here, it's gonna know what, it will know that's probably what I want. So this is the average claim amount. Those are, we're gonna talk about this. the drivers, right? Things that could determine the total claim amount, and different visualizations. You can do see more. But if I click on multiple, right, it's gonna change. As I change the selection, it changes the suggested visualizations for me. Okay, so that's what it means, like initial visualizations. All right. Now, what I could actually do is this. I can click here. Well, I want to keep this visualization, right? I click on it, and it's gonna edit as a card. Card is a set of my visualization, right? Card. See, this card is a visualization in my set. I just added the average claim amount, right? Similarly, I can do this, right? I can just edit. And then I just open the card if I want to see that, right? And before I talk about this, let's do something else. Well, you can do to add new visualizations. There are multiple ways to do it, right? I just added that card, the suggested card. On the other hand, I can go new. I can do single. Well, then I can do choose type, and those are different visualizations types that I can have. And I'm gonna do this spiral, right? Now, what else is here? Those are called the data slots. And if you see little asterisk, it means the data slot is required. So you have to have some column specified here, or you cannot see visualization. So what is going to be the target is what? Total claim amount. So I have to drag and drop total claim amount in the target slot. Well, let's see what is this. This is a bullseye, right? Think a spiral diagram. It lists the drivers and the drivers of the total claim amount and their strengths. There is a one-way driver, right? So that's a one column driver, two column and multiple column. So let's unclick this. One thing to note is this. Note the one driver with the highest predictive strength, vehicle class, right? Vehicle class in this case. And what's important thing is that here that when you do the decision tree model, we'll talk about that. When you do decision tree model, the driver with the highest strength here is going to be used for the first split of the decision tree. The first field that is used for the split of decision tree is the one-way driver here with the highest strength. All right. Here, those are the two-way drivers, right? Two columns and more. It's a combination of columns. Well, as you saw a minute ago, that you can look at the driver analysis, which is nothing but the sliced diagram of this. So see, this is a spiral diagram, and you can sort of like slice it. Let's look at this. So see here, this is a set of visualizations that I added to my workbook. And this is my, well, this is driver analysis, right? So a little bit of housekeeping, I can just close this panel here, right? I just close it. So that way it's easier to see what I want to see, right? Okay, well, okay, hide details. Okay, now it's easier a little bit to see. Well, what is it up here? Those are the drivers, and it shows the strengths. Another thing to notice that it's gonna list the drivers only if the predictive strength is at least 10%. Anything below 10%, it's not gonna list. So here, the closer the dot to the right, the stronger is the predictor. Then I can click on each dot here, and I can look at the visualization, right? Well, see this, so this is a visualization of income and total claim amount. And the visualization type that is used, it's based on the data types of the data that I'm looking at, right? That's what it's doing. And here it's gonna be two drivers, right? So this is a total claim amount by claim amount, the number of policies. So see that you have several dimensions here, right? And the color code is it represents the total claim amount, average total claim amount. Okay. So, but another thing is that if you have a multiple drivers, right, the combination of 3 or more column, it's going to be represented as a decision tree. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this decision tree to the card. So now, well, there are multiple ways to do this presentation. Now I can just proceed to decision tree, and then we talk about other ways to add visualizations. There is more than one way to do, okay? So that's why the slides are going to be in slightly different order. Okay, so here is my decision tree. Let's see what we do. I mean, everybody imagines a tree and it splits into branches. This tree can be collapsed and expanded and collapsed. I usually like to collapse everything so that way I can show you how it is built, right? I can show you how it's built. Well, in the beginning, well, we'll take a look at this. Well, what do you see? Remember I told you that vehicle class is used as a first split because it's a one-way driver with a driver with the highest predictive strength. So the way we do is this: we look at this vehicle class, and then we say, what is vehicle class? If it's a two-door, for example, we take this path, right? If it's SUV, we take this path. Now, when you hover with your mouse, it's gonna give you the average total claim amount for the records that fall into this branch. Their standard deviation is a percentage of growth. So you see that vast majority of cars have a four-door, right, or the two-door. So this is the vast majority of cars. Now what I can do, I can click on this node. Ooh. Well, it expands everything that was expanded before. But this is, see that this is the next thing that is used, and this is employment, right? It's using the employment next as a next split. And here, well, you see that if it's if this person is employed, I take this path, right? So basically what I do is I traverse my tree from left to the right. Decision tree, basically it's a set of rules. I can say if vehicle class is two-door or four-door, and if the person is employed, then if monthly premium is less than 94, and if vehicle size is small, right, then on average, my total claim amount is gonna be what, $342, something like that. This is what you would do. You would traverse, and this is the color code represents the relative value. This is a light color, it's more 254, and this is the dark color. Well, here you have just not as many data, maybe 1% of data, but well, if the situation, if the case is rare, it does not mean that it's not important, right? But most of my data is represented by two-door cars, right? So if I was going to, well, in your assignment 3, you will have to do multiple diagrams, right? So you could look, for example, you could look specifically at the two-door cars, all right? So you can look at different combinations of predictors as well. And like, see here, if you open this here, it shows you the details. Well, here it just says that vehicle class, employment status, marital status coverage, and other predictors, they have predictive strengths, right? And the data slots, well, this is basically what you used. This is a target and this is total claim amount. What you could do here is that, and you will need to do, you can do edit drivers. And from here, you can check uncheck the columns that you want to use as your predictors. You can do that, okay? Like for example, if I don't want to use effective 2 date as a driver, it's gonna apply. Well, in this case, it's not gonna do much change because it's not used for splitting, right? Also the main use for splitting. Now, well, if you find it a little bit hard to read, you can look at rules too. But tree diagram mostly visualizes the rule. It's a set of if-else questions. And if I know my vehicle type, if I know the person employment type, if I know the monthly premium, if this information is given, so to estimate the average cost, I would need to traverse this tree. And then in the leaf node, right, the terminal node, the color code stands for the approximate total claim amount. I can also look at it as rules. Well, here, right now, at the moment, I'm looking at the highest claim amount, and this is a vehicle class, and this is the employment status. And there is only 1% of data to support this case. Well, I can also do here, I can change how I'm sorting it, right? I can change the sort order. Well, here, if it's a two-door car or four-door car, employment status is employed, monthly premium, right? And this is a vehicle size. Well, then I have about 30% of records, right? And this is an average claim, total claim amount, something like that, right? Well, I excluded the date, but if I want to undo it, see this, what I did was I removed effective due date. So let me re-add this. Well, because I saw it used to somewhere. Yes, I saw it used to in here too. Okay, but you can exclude it in this case, right, to make it, yeah. So you see, this is one way. Another way to see this, Sunburst. Sunburst diagram mainly shows the portion or the percentage, right, of data to which the rule applies. Also, see here, oops, I want to collapse everything, right? So I collapse it. And as you collapse the tree, this gets collapsed concurrently. So see this, if I look at my tree diagram, if I collapse the tree, the sunburst thing, it will also collapse, okay? Well, there is a video where I created on a sunburst, and I look at it, I put it side by side and look at this. Well, so see here, if this is a vehicle class, right? It shows you the pass, but it does not actually shows you the percentage. It does show the percentage, but you cannot see the relative percentage. If you look at the sunburst, see this is your total claim amount at the whole circle. Next thing is what's gonna be next. If I click on this, I'm supposed to see the next one, which is what? Employee type. Well, sometimes it takes a little bit, no, not employee type, sorry, the vehicle type, right? Well, so you see this here, it shows you relatively the percentage of cars, 71% of cars, two-door or four-door. And I can click here, it's gonna add the next one. Oh, but I had to have the tree collapsed to make it collapsed to make it work better. But see here, so I'm gonna collapse this. Oh, so see this now. Now this is what I'm seeing here. This section here is a two-door car, right? I'm further breaking it down for employed or the medical leave or unemployed. See this? So I'm further breakdown. And in here, I can see that 45% of my claims are by employed individual, and that person is driving a two-door car or four-door car, right? So this is basically a rule, and an average is this 298. Then I can drill more, right? I can look at the next one, see next and next and next. So basically, you can do that, or you can also look at the smallest, right? So this is the smallest one, only 4% of data, right? And it's a SUV cars, SUV and sport car. Notice that their claim amount is higher, right? Etc. So this is how you would use the decision tree. Now, next thing, well, here I can show stuff in different order. Well, let's take a look at this now. See this, I have this visualization. This shows the average claim amount. What I can also do is that I can look at the related visualizations. Well, maybe it thinks I want to do this. For example, I want to look at the total claim amount by employment status. Okay, I just added that card. I added this card. See this is here. I just added this. Oh, but look at this. This is interesting. I have some insights. You're not going to copy this into your paper, okay? But this is for you. It gives you an idea to start. Data slot is what's used to do visualization. And if you want to, you can always change the column. You can change the columns that you use here. Okay, you can always you can change, like for example, instead of employment status, you can do claim type, something like that. Yeah. And you can look at this. Look, this is a bar plot, but you can also change different visualization type if you wanted to. Okay, if you wanted to, you can change different visualization type in here. All right. And also, well, I'm going to talk about pins next time, but this is if you know that you're going to be using this visualization as part of multiple stories, etc. You can sort of like edit the favorites or pins, and this will delete this card. Those are the cards. Remember, each visualization is edited as a card. Now I'm going to save this. Okay. Now next thing, what you could do is you can also do. Let me do new. See here, this is your data, and you can just create visualizations by just drag and drop. Like I drag and drop marital status, and this is gonna just, in this case, it just listed the visualization type. It just picked a list, right? But I can also do, I can drag another column, right? Or like, for example, I drag income on this visualization. It's gonna adjust. See this? It's gonna give me the income by marital status. But again, I don't like that it's doing a sum. What I could do, I could click here and change it, right? Here, well, see this? This is a summarized property. I can go in here and I can change this to the average. Well, doing it this way, well, good. It did what I need for this plot, but it will apply only to this plot, right? If I want this to be applied to all plots in this exploration workbook, I would have to change it where? Here. But if I want this to be applied across the board in all visualizations, all stories, etc., where I use this, I would have to go back and make a change in my data module. Yep. Now we save this. Next thing is another way to add the visualization is to use this little guy that you will like. This is called assistant, right? So for example, well, I don't remember what I called my data, right? So I'm gonna just type the word data. It's gonna give me the sets of data that I can access to. So this is my data, right? This is the same as typing show, and then you put the source and you put the name of the data file, right? So here, what it does, it shows you the columns and information about the columns. For example, how fast, how much value repetitions, and what column type is it, and etc. Right? So here I click more and I see more. Now what I could do, I could click on specific column in here and see more information about that column. And here also the fields that could be related to my total claim amount column. Then perhaps I click on the monthly premium author. What is it going to do? It's going to give me the plot, monthly premium, right, and the total claim. But this plot, I don't like that. Well, I can keep on scrolling through. Well, I may like this plot. So what I could do is I could just go here, click on new, and I can drag and drop this visualization here. Okay, I can just drag and drop. So that's another way to do this. Now I can also here do show related visualizations, and it's gonna give me more visualizations, right? Probably maybe different columns, but it's gonna, but you have, you know, this option. We have this option here, yeah. And see this that show me the sum. I would have to change it to average usually, right? We don't care about what everybody has paid. We looked at the average here. And this is called what the bubble plot, right? You can click here to see the insights. This is more insights. Details in here. See that? How smart Cognos is? It's giving you a lot of details already, but don't count on it, okay? Now, so that's that. Let's go back to the slides. Well, I went in the order I went was a little bit different, so that's why you might be saying, how we only on 21. No. Well, here this is just showing you the interface, right? The set of cards, and the same thing here. This is the name of the file, and if you have this little asterisk, it means your work was not saved. Then you have this undo redo buttons, right? There are some similarities and differences. You may have noticed that you cannot change the colors. Well, we'll get to it next time. This is data exploration. You cannot change. You're limited in what formatting you can do. You literally can do, right? And I showed you multiple ways to add visualizations, right? But take a look at this. So this visualization does not have a filter, but we created a filter. It's in here. If you look here, remember we added the filter. If I wanted to use the filter now, I could do this, drag and drop, see this? And the filter is applied. I don't need to redefine it. So that's what selectable filter is. I just took it and I applied it, okay? So just remember that. Now, so we got that part. You can look at related visualizations and etc. Right? Well, we talked about this relationship diagram. Remember, this is not a data module. It's not like a database data module, okay? It does not show the cardinalities. It does not say that perhaps number of policies. It does not say that, okay, number of policies does not necessarily tell like if it's a two-door car or etc. Right? No cardinalities. It just shows that there is a relationship and relationship strength. That's what it is. Okay. All right. So we talked about this part here, right? That you can add the visualizations from here. Okay. Well, I just showed you how to use embedded assistant, but there is another command in here. Well, here you just show source and then you put the column name. It's going to give you details on the column, right? Oh, another thing that I did not show you was this. See here, it saved all my searches. So if I was going to rerun the command that I already ran, I would just need to click on this and click enter, right? What else you could do? You could clear it. You could reset, okay? Then the command you ran are gone, right? That's what reset does. And you can also do the same thing here, okay? You can also, this is another version of the assistant. And what we just looked at was a full view, okay? Now, well, you can also do, those are the columns, they're clickable, right? You can look at the visualization, such as like related column, right? Or you can do this. You can do show chart and type a column names, right? So this will show the total claim and coverage chart, like I do it in here, in this slide, right? Now, well, we're gonna build the navigation path now. I'll show you what that is. Don't worry about the number of slides because there will be sections that we're going to skip because I already covered it. Well, okay, let's look at the navigation path. Let's look at it this way. You are taking data 610, right? Sometimes I want to look at the average, overall average assignment grade for data 610. Then I want to drill down. I want to look at the average grade by assignment. Like you just submitted assignment 1, right? I look at the average grade for assignment 1. But then there are also 2 sessions for data 610. I can look at the average grade by session. So this is a hierarchy, right? Oh, another good example would be you look at something per year, per month, and per day within a month, right? That's another hierarchy. Or perhaps the state and the area inside the state. Locations are very good for the hierarchy. So what we'll do right now is this. We're going to create a navigation path, but at this time, I'm going to create just in this workbook. So If I do that, it will be unavailable elsewhere, right? It will be only available in this workbook. So here it is, navigation path. I'm gonna click on create navigation path. And what I want to do in here is that I want to take my state code first, right? State code or state. I take the state, oops, I have to drag it here. State code, and then I want to look at the location code, okay? So this is the hierarchy. It's gonna show, in my case, I want to look at the number of customers in a state, and then I'm gonna drill down by the location code. So this is the name of the hierarchy, state code, location code. It's editable, but by default, it looks at these columns that I use. And in this is here, I'm looking at the two columns, right? But I created a video where I'm showing it with a 3-level hierarchy. So there is a video for you to watch in a playlist that goes a little bit more in details. So now what I'll do, I'm gonna save this, okay? I added this hierarchy. Now what you can do is you can build visualization, right? And in here, well, see here, I showed you how I defined it, right? And then in here, this is, I'm using the heat map visualization, and I'll do that right now too. So I'm gonna have to do new, single, and I'm gonna do choose type, right? There is more than one way to do that, but I just did it this way, hit okay. And here, well, this is more for relationships, but well, let's see what happens. Or I can do, let's try that. I can do that. Now, what do I want to do this? See, this is a hierarchy. In my case, I'm gonna drop this state code, right? So this is what I want to do. I want to look at the state code, right? Now, notice I don't see anything because this here, it means that this is required. I must specify something. And I'm gonna put the customer because what it's gonna do, how the customer is summarized, it's gonna give me the number of customers, right? So each slice in here, relative slice, right? It depends on number of customers. So now what I could do, see, I hover, it shows me the number of customers in Missouri, right? Iowa, right? So now what you could do is, that's the whole point. Here, you right click. Well, do you see this drill down? I can drill down in here, and it's gonna show me by location code inside that state, inside the state that I'm drilling down into, right? And when I click here, it's going to show me which data is being visualized. So I selected the state called Iowa, and here are the number of customers or location code inside in the Iowa. And I can do multiple levels of this, okay? So now, and to go back, I click here, and this one, it will take me back, okay? Those are the different states, and I can look at it inside the state, okay? Now, so that's a hierarchy, but I defined it only in this exploration. It won't be available elsewhere. To make it available in all visualizations, in all workbooks, right? I would have to define it where? In the data module, okay? Next thing is, well, calculations are expressions, and we're gonna go back now to the data module. Yeah, we're gonna do some calculations. You can create calculation in data exploration, but then it won't be available anywhere else, right? We want the work to be reusable. So what's a calculation? It's an expression. It could use some summary functions, like which is average of something, right? It can be something like this string, right? Concatenations. Like for example, if you have a first name, last name, you want to use it, you want to show it as a concatenated, or perhaps you want to take a substring, or if you have a monthly premium, you want to calculate the annual premium, something like that. Those are the calculations, right? If you create them in a data module, it will be available everywhere where you use the data module as a source, right? There are also two types of calculation. One is embedded calculation and standalone. We'll look at both. And I have a video where I show more details. Okay, but we're gonna go back now to the data module and I'll show you several examples of the calculations quickly. So not quickly, but I'll show you. Okay, don't worry about the length of material. You will have to watch it more than once. So, okay, so now I saved it, right? How do I know? I don't see the asterisk, right? So I know my changes are saved. If I did not, I would see the asterisk and it will also prompt me to save usually. Okay, see that this is a data module. This is recent because we had it recently accessed. Or I could also find them in my content, right? But what I want to do right now is that I want to edit this. Edit data module. And what we want to do, we want to add calculations, right? I clicked here. There is more than one way to do it. Like in this example, I have my monthly premium, right? And if I don't see the columns that I'm looking for, I can type. See this? I can type it. And this is, I have monthly premium amount. I want to create another column, create a calculation. And well, I like to use a calculation editor. And what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna rename it as annual amount, right? Annual premium. Okay, and what I'm gonna do in here to calculate the annual premium, I'm gonna do, for example, I can multiply my monthly premium. So, and here I can also search, right? I can also search here. So see that this is a monthly premium, and I'm gonna do multiply it by 12. So this is gonna be my annual premium. This is just an example of the calculation. I'm gonna click OK. What type of calculation did I just create? It's called embedded because the calculation is added as a column. See this? Well, you have a value for each row. You have a value for each row, right? And you can just take that whatever it is. You can look at the column that was. See, this is a calculated one. What I have highlighted is a monthly, and in here is an annual, right? You can just quickly spot check, take a couple values and multiply by 12 and see if it's as expected, right? And so here it is, right? So you see here, right? So that's one calculation. That's it was relatively, I cannot say simple, but relatively simple. But what if I want to do something like average income by state, perhaps, right? I want to have a column that will show the average income of the state that the person is in. Well, what I could do is I could also add a calculation. So let's say income, right? This is income. Oops, where is that? I just saw it. Okay, if I don't see it, I can always do this. This is income. So now I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on create the calculation, right? And I'm going to use calculation editor. Okay, and I'm going to do something like, I'm going to call it income, average income by state. By state, okay. Well, okay, now what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to take, this is income in here. I'm going to do that, but not quite. I want to take an average, right? So what do I need to do? I need to do the summaries. And the summary is going to be the average. And what am I going to do the average of? I'm going to take the average of income, right? But what I want to do is I want to take it by state. So I'm going to say for, and what for what? For state code, okay? For the state code. What it will do is that the value is going to be average income of the state that the person is in, right? Let me check this if it's valid. It should be okay. Well, and you can also do the preview. For the calculations, you can also do a little preview, okay? So this is persons is from Iowa, and this is the person income, and this is the average overall for the state. Here I'm storing something in each column. This is called what? Embedded calculation, right? Okay, I'm gonna save it. Now, what you can do also, you can create the standalone calculation. It's a single number perhaps, but it's not stored with a it's not stored with a row, right? Okay, now take a look. I'm gonna do here, and I clicked here, and I can select the calculation. Perhaps that I want to store a separate variable called average income, right? I'm just showing you what can be done, right? Average income, I just want to store it. Then I'm gonna take this column, summaries, and I'm gonna do the average, right? And I'm gonna put the column is gonna be, it's gonna be the income, right? It's gonna just store overall average. And I want to store it in a way in a variable and once, right? So let's do this. This is not gonna be added as a column, but it will be added to the standalone. Okay, well, it should be added as a standalone if I did it right. Oops, I did not do it right. So now this is what you would do. If you did it wrong, you're just gonna go remove it. Okay, and then you have to edit here calculations. Jesus, I selected the wrong spot. So this is where I should have edited, okay? And then I go here. Jesus, this is a summary. Summary is gonna be the average, right? Now it's gonna be correct. And you go to those fields, and what are the fields? It's an income, right? I do that. So I'm not supposed to be seeing this as a column. I should be seeing it as a standalone, okay? This should be state standalone, okay? So let's do that, okay? This should be stored once, see it? It's over here. This is a standalone calculation, and it will be available also in the data exploration. Sometimes you can use it as part of visualization, okay? Well, just remember that you can have two types of the calculations. Embedded, right? Standalone, it's just a single here. And for standalone, you can use data from multiple data modules. We're not doing it here, but I'm just saying what you can, what you cannot do, okay? Well, next thing is this, data groups. Well, the idea is, well, similar example, let me give you a similar example. When your work is graded, you get the specific numbers, 95%, 89%, right? But when instructor puts grades into the system, it goes as ABC. So this is an example of the data group, Binion. So if you got 90 or above, it's an A, right? 80 to 89 is a B. So this is the whole concept is Binion. We can do the Binion for numeric values, or we can also do the Binion for the categorical. Like there are different types of cars, and we want to group subtypes, right, into types. And I have a video that shows how to do both. I have two videos on Binion. So, but here, just quickly, I'm gonna show you how to do, for example, see this is income. I'm gonna create the data group. Well, this is create a data group, right? Well, do you look at this? Do you see this here? By default, it's gonna name income group. And here, by default, there are 5 groups, but I can change the number of groups. By default, it's gonna give me the ranges, but I can always change my ranges, right? I can change these numbers, okay? But this is a by default. And it's gonna create what? It's gonna create the columns that's gonna show these values instead of actual values. Here, if the value is, if you have missing values, you can specify what you want to do with them. But in my case, we handled missing values, remember? But you can specify, okay? Now let's do the create, and you're gonna see 2 columns that are added. Because what it's doing for numeric is that it's each bin had a number, okay? So let's see, where is it? It adds it edited here. This is hidden. Well, each bin has a number, each range has a number. So this tells you the range number where the value falls into. And if I wanted to edit this, right? Let's here income. Okay, so this is I created the income group, and I can always change this. So how do you change this? You would just need to edit this, right? Properties, view or edit. See? Oh no, you don't want to be looking at this. This is a code. This is a code that it get generated, but there is an easy way to do it. Well, you just go here, and you can just edit. Just double click. You can do that too. Oops. Oh, the double click is gonna do filter. Sorry, guys, I'm wrong. But this is a group, right? You can you can edit the group. You can edit the group. See this? Oh, income. It's a group. There should be edit group. Not sure what I'm doing now, but there should be. Oh, here it is. Sorry, guys. Edit data group. Edit data group. This is here. You can do it that way, or if you're advanced, if you want to, if you like to the coding, you can go and edit the code. So behind the scene, it defines the code for this, right? Another thing is that this is a numeric. For numeric, you don't need to know. Well, it creates a number of groups for you, but it doesn't. It's not the case for the categorical. You have to create the groups yourself. So, like for example, yeah. Okay, let me see. Is there a way to change the group name? Absolutely. Why not? So let's see. Okay, so this is a group, right? I can do that. Why not? Properties. Oh, it's here. It's editable. I just changed it. I just deleted the parentheses. There we go. So that should be editable. Oh, what is this? To change the group name instead of 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Yes, this is hidden. This is a group number. See this? But this is a group. You mean change this label here? Sure. So you would need to go to the edit data group, and you can change it here. You can change the label here. See this? You can change it. You can type anything. Right? Did I answer the question? Oh, okay. Most welcome. Yes. So here it creates a hidden column, which is called the range, right? Value. And then the actual, this is a label. For the categorical, it's totally different. So categorical, I think in my video, I'm doing the policy. I took the policy because I thought, well, maybe it's easier to demonstrate because notice how you've got the no, policy. It's easier this way. Okay, so if you look at the policy type, right? I just figured out that if you look at the policy, it ends with here personal L3, corporate L3. So I just said, okay, let's create a data group, put all personal together, put all corporate together. Just an example, okay? Well, how can I do that? I can just do this. This is a policy, right? I can click here. There's more than one way, and I can say, hey, create a data group. And I'm using the policy column. That's going to be the group name, right? The column name, new column name, sorry. But here, I don't have the predefined groups. I need to add them. So I'm going to go new group, and I'm going to call it what? Corporate, right? So what I see here on the left-hand side, those are the values. And now what I want to do, I've selected the corporate, and I want these to be added to the corporate, right? Click, and click. Right, so this is one. Now I want to add a new group, and I'm gonna do the personal, right? And now I'm gonna do that, personal, personal, and personal, okay? Next is what? The next one is gonna be what? Special, right? That's it, I'll just put this. So we're not writing any code, right? But of course, if you had to do something like more complicated, you would probably be writing expressions. And what I did was I have a video with advanced calculation. It's a case statement that breaks down the income categories more in my custom way. So there is a video, if you're interested to watch, it's an example of more advanced calculation. Okay, so that's one of the videos that I created, and the link to the playlist is in the slides and also in the classroom. Now I'm gonna do this, okay. And it's gonna add the category, it's gonna add the new column here. It takes a little bit of time to, okay, here it is. Well, I have policy, and then for some reason it's gonna end it to the front, but you can also move the columns, right? You just drag and drop and it will move the column. Okay, you can do that. Well, sometimes it's, well, the thing is sometimes Cognos has bad days, but anyways, what I'm telling you can move. In general, you can move the columns. Okay, you can move the columns in general. Okay, now what am I? Oh, I talked about the calculations, and this is well, create new groups, right? We talked about that. And here I think I'm using a different column in the slides, but it does not matter. I'm using a different column as an example here. Well, this is a corporate, right? And it's in the video. The details are in the video. Okay, now we're going back now to the exploration. Well, we will, but see this is, we already talked about this, right? Spiral model. So we're done with the calculation now. We're done with the data module. Now I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna close it. Now take a look what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go back to the exploration, but this is important. After you edited the data module, you want to reopen the exploration because you want the changes to be seen. And what were the changes? What did we do? Let's take a look. This is what we did in here. We added this. This is a calculation. It's a standalone calculation. We added some data groups, right? It's in here. Then we also added the annual. Did we add the annual premium? It should be here too, right? And etc. We added whatever we added. It should be available now, right? For the visualizations. We talked about the spiral model. We talked a lot about the decision trees, right? But one thing that I may have forgotten to show you is, so that's a spiral model, right? There is also, well, what you can do, look at this data slots. You can also exclude what you want to exclude from analysis. You would do this edit drivers, and here you would select what you want to include, what you want to exclude. Okay, well, just remember that. Okay. So the stronger is the predictor, the closer is the pin to the center. The predictors with the strength less than 10% are emitted, and also the predictor that has the one-way driver or one column predictor that has the highest strength is going to be used as a first splitting column in the decision tree model. Okay, but for the decision tree model, well, this is here it shows you how to edit drivers, right? I showed you that. But for the decision, this is the driver analysis again, see? So the driver that is closer to the right is going to be the strongest. And you can see visualizations. Remember, I showed you that. You can see visualizations for the driver. Decision tree is going to be the driver that has multiple fields, right? We talked about that. Well, oh, I may have forgotten to show you that you're looking at the visualization, that little mini map, it shows the part that you have selected. Now, the tree is limited to 36 nodes, and each node must have at least 25 rows. So it tells you a little bit about the splitting condition, all right? So the node stops splitting if you have less than 25 rows, and you can't, right? Each node must have at least 25 rows, and 24 rows, and no more than 36 nodes. That's a limitation of this application. And you also can filter to see the top 5 and bottom 5. Top 5 total claim amount, right? You might have to play around with the zoom and you want to just see the part of the tree, visualize the part of the tree that you're discussing in the paper as you take screenshots. We talked about the rules also, right? Okay, we talk about the sunburst visualization. Well, the whole idea, it shows, you basically see the portion of percentage fraction of the data that is being covered by the rule. That's the whole idea. And in the video, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the sunburst and the decision tree example together. And next thing that I have not covered yet is a comparison card. Well, this is something like, suppose that you have the visualization in here, total claim amount by employment status. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna make a copy of this. Okay, I made a copy of this. So I got 2 copies, right? I should have a copy. Oh, I did not copy the card, right? I thought I did. Oh, duplicate, I'm sorry. You have to duplicate it. That's how you do the copy. Okay, what's that? Maybe I missed how? The predictive strength, how it's calculated? Well, there is an algorithm. It's using the algorithm by itself. The Cognos calculates it for you, let's say. Cognos calculates the predictive strength for you. When the data is uploaded, Cognos is running some smart analysis, and it's analyzing the relationships among the columns. And based on those analysis, it calculates which columns are more likely correlated, or so to speak, which the predictive strength for between each columns. Like if you saw it in the initial diagram over here, well, see this was the starting points page. See this? It's here. You see this little arc, right? You see this little arc, and this here, if you hover, it's gonna show you the predictive strengths among these 2 columns. So Cognos calculates it for you. You don't need to worry about anything. You just look at the numbers. That is it. Now, I mean, I hope I answered the question. But if you want to get in the deep, sir, yeah, but the thing is, it's doing it for you. That's the whole thing. You just upload the data and you got the result. That's an idea. You don't do any R code, you don't do any Python code, okay? I hope I answered the question. Oh, you want to see the calculation. Is there a way to see that? Huh. Well, that's a good question. Unfortunately, it's a closed source. We cannot see the implementation. We cannot see the implementation, but if I figure out, then yes. But well, we could see the calculation for the data group, right? Because it was creating the calculation, but here, unfortunately, there is no way. Nope, no way. That's the thing. It's a closed source. It's not an open source. You cannot see it. Okay, no problem. I'm trying, doing my best. Okay, so what I did here, I made a copy of this too, right? I duplicated the visualization. I'm gonna go in here, and I want to do this. I want to look at the, oops, nope. I'm gonna look at the gender now. Let's see. See, so here, this thing has a good day and bad day. Let's hope it works. You go to local filters. Oh, look, you have to make sure that that slot is shaded, because I want to drag local filters and I want to put only females. Okay. Now I have another copy of this visualization in here. Okay. And now I'll do this one. I'm gonna add a local filter here too, but instead of the female, I want to select male. So here, where is it? That gender, I'm gonna drop. Let's hope it works. It worked. See, now it's a little bit not working. Oh, see, it did what I don't want to do. So what I do is I remove it. Well, the thing is, you cannot have anything selected here. But the idea is, okay, where is it? It worked when I did the first one. Local filters. See, it has to be shaded. It's not, but the idea is I wanted to do comparison visualization where I want to do everything. I want to show two charts side by side, and I wanted to see that I wanted to show you how you can compare. One chart is for the male and another chart is for the female. But I'm trying to drag and drop is here. This slot has to be shaded. If not, then it's not gonna do what I wanted to do. See, it's not doing what I wanted to do. Not repeat column. It's not doing what I wanted. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go back to the cards. I'm gonna take an easier way now. This is a card, right? This is good card, right? So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna duplicate this. And then, well, first of all, I'm gonna delete this. Delete. Okay, delete this. So I duplicate it now. Now I have it. So this one was female, and this one is gonna be the male. I'm just gonna go here, and I'm gonna click on the filter, and I'm gonna do male. Okay. Now what I wanted to show you is this. I can select this two. I selected this two. Now I go here and I can do compare. So that's what I meant. This is a comparison. Okay. Well, perhaps I know the employment status and I know the total claim amount. And I want to compare perhaps by employed. Perhaps I want to look at the employed, male and female, and compare their average claim amount, right? Something like that. So see here, does gender have an impact? And I can just highlight, see, probably not much. Only for unemployed, right? Male, unemployed male have a higher claim amount than unemployed female, and etc. This is just chart side by side. But another thing that I wanted to clarify is that in your assignment, you're asked to build the comparison chart. It's not this. But what is this? What you need to do is this. Choose type, and it's any of these. So the last question in the next assignment, you need to build any of this. Okay, you just select and you discuss, and you explain what the chart shows. Well, but I recommend you do this. After this session, go and check your access and make sure that you can see contents in the shared folder. Okay, so this is very important. Make sure that you see that. If not, put the Salesforce case in, and it's a no-brainer. Okay, so usually I take care of the admin stuff. Abel is a TA. He will work with you if, like, for example, suppose that you cannot access, right? I'm gonna check and I see that nothing wrong with your account. Then Abel will need to do the screen share with you and see what exactly going on. All right. But I do the admin stuff. If there is a missing permission, I take it as a high priority. Okay. Now, so please make sure that you will see, you can see, save it. So now, well, okay. I want to go back to the landing page, perhaps, right? I'll go to click on welcome, right? Selecting welcome takes me back here. Well, this is team content. You want to make sure that you see this in the team content. If you don't see this in the team content, it means that you are not added to the data extend group. I need to do it. Okay. So you need to submit the case. Nobody else will be able to address it besides me because this is the admin stuff. Okay. Oh, another small thing that I forgot to show you is that this is my content. You can also create a folder if you want to, right? Like new, and you can also create like subfolders. If I want to organize my files into the folders, I can do that, right? Okay. All right. And oh, I think I remember what this is. It's called chi-squared regression tree. That's what it is. It's an algorithm. It does a gain index calculation. It's very complex. So it's doing the calculations for you to determine which columns are most, which columns are least significant predictor. And you saw the diagram, right? And then it's looking for the spiral diagram. Anything if the predictive strength is below 10%, it's going to be omitted, right? So that's basically how it works. So, and this just shows you how to save stuff, right? Okay. Oh, this is a good part. This is a playlist. What I did was I prepared this whole list for you, and it's you go here and you paste this, and it's on YouTube, and oops, it first starts with this ad, but once you watch the ad, you'll see this. This is this whole list, but this is for the rest of the semester. So right now we covered everything up to the decision tree. So see this, if you watch this thing here, driver analysis, decision tree, sunburst visualization, this will tell you what you need to do for assignment 3. And starting from here, this is going to be your assignment 4. But this is not all. We're going to do a session. In 4 weeks, we're gonna do another session on this. Yes, I will pause this. This is what's going to happen. Oh, which link? Do you mean the link to the videos or what? How to access? It's in the instructions. How to access the Cognos, or how to access the environment? Which link? Can you explain to me? I'm trying to understand the question. Okay. Let me know which link to post. But after this session, you're gonna have the link to recording. It's gonna be uploaded to YouTube. I have a playlist. I'm gonna upload this. So then what else you will get? You will get the slides. Oh, you can't log into IBM? No, you don't log in via Google. You go to this, see this is a slide in here. This is a slide in here. vdi.umgc.edu. You log into our environment, okay? So if you already logged into Leo in another tab, when you put this, it's gonna take you straight to the VDI. It's a virtual environment. It's a, yes, okay, good, yeah, and you launch the Cognos there. That's hosted by the UMGC, but they control the access to actual environment. But for me, I created all your accounts. That was done last weekend. But some of you, if you already registered for this class, right, probably more likely I created your account earlier, but you still have it. I didn't delete it. If I created your account earlier, you still have it. I don't delete accounts. Once I created, they created. Even if you drop the class, your account still stays because it's not synchronized with your enrollment. Well, you might not be able to get to this page if you drop the class. I'm not sure because I have no control over it. But I only control the Cognos stuff itself, okay? All right. So, yeah. But please make sure that you can access, because it's very important. You don't want to wait until the last minute. Well, usually I respond fast. Access tickets are high priority, but you never know, right? You want to always start assignments early. So for this one, for the first one, just get it out of the way, I'll tell you, and allow yourself more time. So your assignment 2, where do you get the data? It's just a quick recap. So how do I get my data for assignment 2? You would go here, team content, right? And you're gonna look where? Here. And this is a folder, assignment 2, Nashville housing data. So here you're gonna be, basically the goal is to sort of like estimate the value of the house, right? And the data, there are some missing values. You're gonna need to handle them. So review what we did in this tutorial, in this session here. It will help you with your assignment 2. So make sure you do this first one quickly. In order to see assignment 2, okay, assignment 2 has conditional visibility. So you need to complete the getting started assignment and submit it. Then you will see assignment 2, okay? So little assignment that actually due next week, right? It's not assignment 2, it's pre-assignment. It's something that you need to do before to get to assignment 2. Let's say this way, right? So that's assignment, then 3 and 4. So here, there is a set of data sets. You're going to pick one for assignment 3, and you're going to stay with it for assignment 4, okay? Because 4 is a continuation of 3. 3, you build the models, and then 4, you're going to do more visualization. You're going to create dashboard. But before you start 4, you're going to have another session. So if you look at this, the calendar, today is the 8th. So set aside some time. In 4 weeks from today, it's going to be the July 6th, right? Okay, so set aside some time. At the same time, we're going to have another session. I promise next session is going to be shorter than this, but we're going to have another session. We're going to talk about the dashboard, the stories, and how to do the group work in Cognos. Sounds fair? Okay. Do we have more questions? Well, yeah, but yeah, there are a lot of interesting questions. Oh, how to change password? No, you won't be changing passwords. I'm sorry. You won't be changing passwords here. I'm so sorry, but the good news is there are no money on that account. Nothing to be stolen. So don't worry, it's not your bank account. There is no check, no money. There is no social security in there. Okay, no worries. Yeah, but yes, that's done this way. So that way it's easier to debug. If there's an issue, I can log in. Well, if there is an admin issue, I can log in and check if it's really issue or if it's something that TA needs to troubleshoot with you via screen share. Things like that. Oh, you typed the link from the slide in the browser, but it failed. Well, check maybe there are typos. It's this vdi.umgc.edu. Okay. Well, there is also the same link is also in assignment instructions, I think. Yeah. So it's this vdi.umgc.edu. Yes, thank you, Tiffany. Yes, yes, yes. So if you want to make sure that that works, oh, excellent, yes. You want to make sure that, so, and if it does not, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to a classroom and have your teacher, have you just probably discussed how to do the tickets, right? They discuss how to do the cases. And very important, when you submit the case, you want to select the last option because Salesforce is for everything. So financial aid, advising, all of the stuff. So when you select the wrong case type, it's going to go to the wrong department and TAs are not getting it, right? So you want to make sure that you select the correct case type, virtual lab or VDA, whatever that called is. Okay? So that's that. Anything else? I mean, you can ask me, don't be afraid to ask. Okay? So, I mean, the biggest mistake that people make sometimes is not ask questions. Not asking questions could be a mistake. It's good to ask sometimes, right? So go ahead and ask anything. I'm giving you a few minutes to think if you have any questions. Or sometimes I start asking questions. You know your first task, right? You want to make sure that you can log in. And one advantage of attending the sessions live is that right after that, you can check and you set aside the time. But sometimes when people say, hey, I'm going to watch the recordings, I never get to it. Trust me. Okay. Assignment 2. No. What's due? No. It's not what's due this week. What you see due right now, it's a pre-assignment. So that's something that you need to complete in order to gain access to assignment 2. This little assignment is just only like 6% of the grade because see, the idea here is this. If you have 2 assignments open, people are going to jump straight to assignment 2 because it has a higher value, right? But the thing is, what are you going to do? You don't know how to log in, right? So the purpose of this little assignment is to make sure that you show your professors that you know how to access your account and you know a little bit how to copy data from the shared folder into your location. You know a little bit how to do some visualizations. You just know a little bit how to play with the tool. So with that, it tells that you're ready to do an actual assignment. So I would recommend whatever is due next week, do it as quickly as you can. Make sure that your access is working correctly. And well, on average, it takes you maybe like half an hour to an hour. Well, it depends. But then focus on assignment to make sure you understand the data, right? Like it's a value of the house. It's based on, I believe it's a number, it's an area, distance from the highways. There are different predictors, okay? And you need to look at the, you ask to do the calculations, you ask to do the filters. Yes, and there are some missing values, so there's some fun stuff. Okay, so you would need to review this video. And then for assignment 3, review the portions of video and review the portions of this recording and also the videos on decision trees and driver analysis. But if you watch that, it's going to give you a lot of hints for your assignment 3. Trust me. Because when that was prepared, it was prepared in light of instructions. So I looked through instructions and I made sure I cover, well, I'm not going to say, hey, here and the 5 minutes time, it's an answer to question 1. Here is the answer to question 2. I'm not going to say the question number, but I cover what you need to know to do the work. Let's say this way. I don't put the question label to it, but I cover it. Okay, does it sound fair? Right? Yes? Okay, so any other questions? So assignment 2 will be visible once you submit that. The rest of the assignments will be done in Cognos 2 and 3. You're gonna do this little assignment, pre-assignment 2, assignment 3. Then we're gonna have another session like this, right? You're gonna have 4. 4 is individual. 5 is gonna be the group. It's an opportunity to work with your classmates, learn from them. So we're gonna discuss how to share files. It's gonna be next session, no worries. And I will do the setup necessary for you to work with the team. So no worries, don't worry about the setup. It will be done for you. But everything will be explained in more details. We're gonna have another session. So go ahead and mark your calendar that in 4 weeks from now, we're gonna be meeting for the second Cognos session. So hopefully, well, I tell you in advance so that way you can kind of like plan, right? It's easier to know in advance, okay? So what's gonna happen, you're gonna check your access and I'm gonna send the recording and the slides to your professor and they will post in the classroom. Sounds fair? Anything else? I'm checking the chat to make sure that I did not miss any questions. If I missed any questions, please let me know. Okay, no? Okay. So if there are no questions, then I'm gonna conclude this session and I wish you guys good luck and I'm gonna see you in 4 weeks, right? Okay. And I'm gonna stop the recording then. Stop recording. Oh, most welcome, most welcome. I'm glad it helped. I'm gonna do stop recording.